Silas, grab that remote and turn that light green.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna have you. It works better the closer you are. I don't. Yeah.
Ready for it?
I'm ready for it. Are you ready for it? There we go.
That was good.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Banter.
Hello.
This week's cast is me, Silas, and Brad.
Hello.
This is a unique first-time cast. We've never been in this orientation before.
That's true.
I'm excited about it. Here we go. Ready? Begin banter.
So,
Start.
no, we were talking. This is like the Dinner for Schmucks episode. Like Hunter and Trevor tricked us into being on together, and they're gonna make fun of us afterward. I think.
Idiots.
See, already happened.
I didn't have that connotation of the banter. Like I didn't until you said that, and now I don't feel like I have dignity.
Well, did we ever have it to begin with?
That is a good point. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
We just played the first weekly of the winter, our pre-work weekly. Silas wasn't there.
Yeah.
That
I was
is-
tired.
That's regarding frisbee golf. We play disc golf in the morning.
every
That's what
week in the morning before work. Per
It
the
is
title.
weekly.
See, I feel stuck because I feel like I have like a, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, but I'm not allowed to speak about animals, so that takes about like 80% of my knowledge away.
Well, let's try to get halfway through before we start.
I'm not
talking
saying
about
a word.
Animals.
Even if you guys start talking about
Dang
animals,
it! Now I just want to talk about animals.
I know, right? All I can think about. Hey, I did teach Konner an animal fact on the course.
He did.
Today.
I saw you talked about animals. Gotcha.
I know, but I didn't.
Ooh,
That's all I said.
Ooh, I have a story.
Go.
Oh.
Go. Get away. Go.
We found a green snake.
No.
On the course the other day. It was very fun. I was scared for my life.
Do you
I don't
remember
like
whenever I
snakes.
said that I saw a copperhead?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out Brad taught me black snakes. He said was it a copperhead
so
or
you're
a
a liar.
or a juvenile? I didn't know I was a liar. So,
Yeah.
and was I really a liar? He said that juvenile.
Well, I mean, just because you didn't.
If you're only a
Just
liar,
because
if
you didn't
know.
mean to kill someone
But
doesn't mean you're
technically
not a murderer.
Did I lie? Did that make me but was I a liar? Are they different things? Because I didn't know I was lying. So to me, I was telling the truth. So I was a truther to me.
He was just ignorant.
If I continued to say it after I knew the information, then I'd be a liar.
Yeah.
Basically, juvenile black snakes look like copperheads whenever they're young. But from the
As
pictures
a
I
defense
saw,
mechanism.
they're still like a little bit more black, less brown, and they have more defined diamonds rather than like, But yeah, I definitely, whenever I looked at the pictures, it was definitely a juvenile black snake, not a copperhead. It tricked me.
Do we have copperheads here?
Yes.
And timber rattlers.
Gosh.
And water moccasins.
Brad.
Sorry, quit. Stop. So no, I think it's interesting. And Silas, you may not even be in this part of life yet, so maybe we can give you some advice before this happens, because we were talking about this with Trevor. Konner and I were talking with Trevor yesterday. Trevor and Konner are both new homeowners.
Yes.
And they're relatively newly married. I mean, for a couple years, right?
Yeah.
But not like 20 years, right? So they're in a very important part of their life stage as a man, as a husband, as a homeowner, where you got to pick what tool like infrastructure you're going to have in your home. At least I think so. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty rigid.
Yeah.
I like, if I stick with a brand, I'm really brand
You're
loyal
rigid. You're
for
brand
no
loyal to
reason.
rigid. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, I'm not rigid. But and there's always like there's like a give and take to everything, right? So we were talking about like a bunch of, because Trevor's really trying to figure out what tool system he wants to be. He's already kind of started in the Milwaukee, but I think you can appreciate this because
Silas is a big tool guy.
he
I
appreciates
like
tools.
I like tools. My dad was into construction.
Silas is where I was, where your dad has a ton of tools. So you can
Yes.
just go out and use whatever you want.
Yeah.
And that's how I was too. My dad has DeWalt everything because he's a grown A man and can buy whatever he wants. And so he's got like all the DeWalt stuff, all the nice tools, everything that you need. So I grew up being like, oh, I saw this in a YouTube video, I want to try, and I'd go outside and ruin all his tools.
Right.
But
Yeah.
now I live 3.5 hours away from my dad, and so I have to only use my stuff. I don't have anyone near me that I can borrow stuff from, except for Brad, my Brad dad.
That's true.
My Braddy daddy.
That's true. He did come to me yesterday and say, hey, I was thinking, I thought you might have this tool. And I was like, I do have that tool.
And I know that you pride yourself in having tools whenever people ask.
Right. I mean, I think that's part of it. And we were talking about this, but it's just like tools are something that like, as you grow older, you're like, it's a kind of a toy. Like you're like, oh, I can do this thing, but there's also some like pride in someone being like, hey, do you have like a battery powered nailer, like trim nailer that I can use? And like, oh yeah, I got that. And here's the bag, and here's all the different kind of nails you want. And there's just something about that. My wife's dad is like that. So my dad gave me a wealth of like knowledge and like a bunch of other stuff, but he wasn't like a handy guy, like a handyman. He didn't have like a bunch of tools. My grandpa was, but he was very much like, do not get in my tool shed or I will kill you.
Oh, wow. Are you like a specific brand?
Yeah, I like my saws to be DeWalt. That's what I've tended to land on. And I did separate those two like kind of for a while, but I did a lot of research. I watch a lot of like woodworking and tool review, like YouTube, just because
there's so much out there. Oh.
And so I kind of like, I watched this one video. This guy 731 Woodworks is the name of the channel, and he does a lot of cool like reviews and like compare and contrast like expensive versus cheap brand, and he'll do like a lot of like tips and tricks, like kind of just stuff I'm interested in. He has a smaller wood shop, but he reviewed this thing. It's like a overview. It's like a tool company hierarchy chart he reviewed in one video. It's a very quick video, but it's basically like, hey, here's the like 7 or 8 parent companies that make all of the tools you see everywhere. So, and we were talking about this yesterday. I've landed on the the new Craftsman 20 volt system. Now, you have to look at like 3 areas basically, right? You have to have like value, so affordability versus like quality. So you have that. You have like I guess longevity in the system, which means also not just like are the tools going to last, but also are you going to have different variety like of tools? Are they going to develop new tools? Do they have all the different types of 20 volt tools? Because what DeWalt has going for them is they have like a 20 volt version of everything. Like they have so many 20 volt tools. And then you also have to like obviously look at like durability, which is kind of longevity. They're kind of almost the same thing. But longevity to me means, is it going to be relevant in years from now? Are they going to keep developing tools? Are they going to have the tools that I want? And then are they going to last long enough? So we were talking about that yesterday. Konner, you were talking about you got some of your grandfather's tools, and there was some Porter cable. So we were talking about that. And Stanley, like the Stanley mother company,
Stanley Black & Decker.
Yeah, like the umbrella company, they own both DeWalt, Porter cable, and Craftsman.
Oh, they own DeWalt.
Yeah. So there's a lot of interchangeability, and we're talking about Porter cable because Porter cable has a pretty long history of being really good, like quality tools. At least from my end. Yeah,
they were always like 5 or so years ago, they came out with their line of 20 volt tools, which some people called like the Ryobi killer and like stuff like that. But they were never known for like super high quality, but they were known for like cheap reliability.
Yeah, it's like that right middle, and that's why I landed on Craftsman. They were like right in the middle.
Yeah,
they're like a trusted brand. My grandpa used Craftsman again when they were like a Sears brand, and he was like a strict only Craftsman tool. He was like a small engine mechanic his whole life, so that's like all he
that's
trusted.
How my dad and my grandpa were.
And I realized they went through a change. Craftsman got kind of crappy, and then they like Lowe's picked them up. They've got involved with Stanley, and then that like quality's come back around. So when they went to this new 20 volt system, I was like really intrigued. So that's what I kind of landed on. I got a lot. And what's cool about them is, again, the quality's there. They're not DeWalt. I'm not saying they're like comparable to DeWalt. DeWalt is
when it comes to power tools.
Yeah. And Milwaukee, like they're what they are for a reason. But they do, like for someone like me who's not going to go like do construction work with them.
You're not using it 24/7.
Yeah, but I'm using them for projects. I do get good work out of them. I do use them throughout the year. So I want something that's still reliable.
It's a great consumer tool.
Yeah, that's a great a homeowner's like the homeowner's tool.
It's a little more than a DIYer, but not quite prosumer, more consumer.
Yeah, and that's what had us like in the conversation. They were looking at some stuff from Harbor Freight, which there's plenty of good brands at Harbor Freight. But like
Hercules.
Well, even like Bauer was one we were
looking
about.
at. So me and Trevor have been obsessing over the Bauer stuff, is what because me and Trevor are at a similar like crossroads where like I've got a DeWalt impact driver and drill, and so I've got like a nice expensive brand of those, but I can't, like at my stage in life, all the tools I want, I just can't afford to keep on buying DeWalt stuff because then whenever it comes to their cordless stuff, because it's all very expensive, very high quality. But again, I wouldn't get the full use out of it.
And you're not making your living using those
exactly.
tools.
And Trevor's in a similar point. He's got a Milwaukee drill, so he literally feels the exact same way. I don't really want to keep buying Milwaukee stuff, so we've decided that a good way to go is to have a really nice level ecosystem and to have a cheap level ecosystem. That way, if I'm going to buy a tool that's like, I don't need this to be the best of the best, I just need to do a few projects with it, I can buy my cheap ecosystem one. I can buy.
I also feel like I had this realization the other day. It's like, how often do you use the tool?
Yes,
too?
exactly. Yeah.
Like if you're using a cordless jigsaw, you might use like once a year.
Yeah.
Just buy the Bauer.
Yeah.
But if you're using a drill like once a month, it makes sense to buy a nice drill.
See, here's my argument with a cheap and expensive ecosystem is, why don't you get land in the middle, which is what I did.
Boom.
And for you, like, you can go buy like a cord like jigsaw for like $35.
Yeah.
I bought a 20 volt Craftsman one for $49, and now I just have it.
Yeah.
And it's a good quality one.
Yeah.
And I have a variety of blades I can buy for it, and now I just have it for like $10 more.
So that's like literally one of my things that I love doing, like what I love watching in any hobby. This is how I get into any hobby, is I start looking at value, and I love like budget items that perform as good, if not better, than the name brand things. Like that's something that I really enjoy. Like I have just my whole life loved getting into a hobby and then finding the things that are cheaper but better.
Yeah.
And because that's how things work. Because we all know that name brand things, yes, they have the history of having high quality products, but they also run a lot off of their name brand. They charge a lot more for the name on it. And so there are companies that aren't necessarily making cheaper products. They're making the same product but don't have the same reputation, therefore they sell it for cheaper. And also there's people that find the same factories that they're made in. Like a classic Harbor Freight one is that with their Daytona jacks, they found the factory that the Snap-on jacks were made in. So they have the exact same jack.
I have that jack.
The Daytona 3-ton jack is the exact same jack as the Snap-on 3-ton jack. The Snap-on one is $2,500 and the Daytona one is $300. And they even got sued over it. Snap-on tried to sue Harbor Freight, and they didn't win. I don't know how they settled it, but basically they kept on selling the jack. But they find the same factory. So I always think that's really fun, because it's like, I'm willing to do research about stuff like that. Some people just want to see the name and go buy something they know is good, and I respect that. I think that's great. But I have fun watching the reviews and reading the forums and all that stuff. But like the Bauer stuff I've been watching, and it's like, I watched a comparison of the Bauer versus Craftsman. Now again, this is not longevity. This is one-time performance. The Bauer versus Craftsman impact driver, and the Bauer just straight in, and it's like does it almost like twice the speed. Now I don't, because it also has beat the DeWalt one. It's also beat the Milwaukee one. Like it's crazy outperforming them. But again, for how long? But it's just like, that's fun for me to be like, oh, I can go spend $40 on this impact driver and it's going to outperform like all the other ones. But it's just fun to me. I love stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think the big thing for me too is like the almost most expensive part of it is the batteries, right?
Yes.
Like the actual batteries.
Yes.
Yep.
And like no one wants the tiny batteries that come with them. You want like the bigger, like
Yeah,
the
like 4 amp hour, 5.
or 9.
$80
Yeah.
a pop.
The 9 ones, can be $189 plus.
Yeah, I will say I looked up the Craftsman ones. They're not that expensive, and I learned something very important that me and Brad talked about yesterday. So
disclaimer: do not try this at home.
Yeah, they'll say it on the package. They'll say don't try it, but that's because they want you to buy their batteries. But since Craftsman and Porter Cable, both made by Stanley Black & Decker, there was a time whenever Craftsman was first getting into the power tool game, really, that they didn't have a line of power tools. But since they were owned by the same company as Porter Cable had a lot of power tools that came out. So this is like fact. This isn't like conspiracy.
Yeah.
You can look at them. They're the same items. They took the whole Porter Cable lineup and they replaced it with red and black parts, and they put the Craftsman name on it. Nothing wrong with that. And they're marginally more expensive, not much more expensive. So it's not like they were like tricking people. They're basically the same price. I looked at them, and so that made me think, I wonder if the batteries are the same, because I already have batteries for Porter Cable, because again I inherited from my grandpa Porter Cable impact and drill, and looked it up. They're the same battery. They say on the package, don't use them interchangeably, but that's because they're not going to say you can use cheaper batteries with this.
Yeah.
That's so surprising.
I might have to check. I think I'm going to look into the Craftsman stuff now because I already have some batteries for it. And
but
also,
you got to make sure they didn't change their battery
Well, we're gonna try it.
Yeah, we're gonna try it.
Okay.
I have plenty of the smaller Craftsman, like 2 amp hour or whatever.
I'll bring it in tomorrow. I'll bring in one of my things.
And then
tomorrow.
if it blows up, that's fine. I don't know.
We can maybe we should put your battery in my tool. That way we blow up my tool, not your tool.
The thing that surprises me so much is how long those things last. Like you can just leave them for a year.
These Porter cable ones,
they'll still run.
They've got it. So my grandpa,
well.
my grandpa was a woodworker, like an intense woodworker, built like really insane stuff. And I actually have a lot of regret. I wish I was more interested in it whenever he was alive, because I feel like I could have hyped him up a little bit instead of being like cool. But I was always nice to my grandpa. I don't really have regrets. But he started getting dementia a long time ago. Whenever I was in high school. Yeah, whenever I was in high school. And so I'm past college now, a few years past college. And so, probably whenever I was 18. No, he started getting earlier than that. I'm sorry. I'm not good at timelines, but he started getting dementia a long time ago and kind of stopped doing woodworking and then got to the point where he didn't remember anything. And so those drills, or that drill and impact, probably been sitting for at least 6 years, since he got them, and just been sitting in this bin that has been in their storage. So my grandma sends it home with me, and I start pulling stuff out, and I see the batteries under there. I'm like, there's power tools in here. This is a great day for me. And I pull them out, and they still have charge. They're all still fully charged, and so it was very exciting.
Lithium-ion technology.
Yeah. It's kind of wild. Just to wrap up the ecosystem talk, I've settled on Craftsman because, again, trusted name. They've revamped everything. All the reviews were good, and it was middle of the road. The thing I compromised on was where it was still new. They revamped it. They didn't have a lot of different tools. They had all the standard stuff you need, like reciprocating saw, jigsaw, circular saws, impact driver, screwdrivers, the grinders, all of the standard stuff. But just the way they were developing as quickly as some other stuff was coming out, like chainsaws and weed eaters.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, they're obviously working on this. So I'll roll the dice and get invested in it and just kind of see. Yeah, hopefully and the thing that almost made me go with DeWalt versus Craftsman and just bite the bullet and just do slowly over a bunch of time. Was Craftsman did not have a palm router, and I really, because the woodworking I do is more like building tables or entertainment centers or stands. It's stuff that needs a nice bevel to the edge, and I'm not gonna build a router table or anything like that. So I'm that's something I really want, and I just hope they're gonna do it. And I went by Lowe's 2 weeks ago. Boom, they just came out with a palm router. It looks exactly like the DeWalt one. I'm very excited.
I decided
because
that
before, you had each brand almost had a specific niche.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember Milwaukee was really heavy into the electrical stuff. DeWalt was more into the woodworking stuff. But now everybody's got everything.
Yeah.
Well, even Craftsman, I was telling the guys, I have a a Dyson style cordless vacuum that's Craftsman that runs on my 20-volt batteries. And I put the 9 amp hour in that puppy, and it runs for weeks.
That's so sick.
So
I might need to get that. My wife wants the Dyson really bad, but they're so expensive.
Yeah. I got this one on sale, and I think it was $150 maybe. But again, I had all the batteries. It came with two additional batteries for that $150 that I got it. So
hey,
the time to buy is the deals, Christmas deals, Father's Day deals, those deals. Clutch.
Yeah. I don't know if I've purchased any of my tools that were not on discount. To be honest, there's no reason to.
No.
We were talking about this yesterday. If I kind of got into this when I was traveling for work a bunch, and I think mainly because I was away from my family and I was just bored. But after I wrapped up the work day, I still had maybe an hour or so of work to do, but I stay up late, so I had a bunch of time to kill after work after 5. So I would just go around to Walmart and like Lowe's, like places I knew that did like big random deals. And I would just, especially like I'm into Lego, so I'd look for Lego deals at all the different Walmarts and Targets and wherever all over the country. And like I found some insane deals. Like I found like this one Lego set it was like a $179 Lego set. I got it for $39. And I just kind of kept it for a while.
Yeah.
And then I sold it, I think, for like $300.
That's crazy.
But I was telling the guys, Lowe's is one of the few like for chain stores where their franchisee like locations all kind of have like some say so in their discounting and things they put on clearance. Like usually it's like corporate, like, hey, we're going to put all these on clearance. Yeah. Now they will a lot of times be the same like type of items you find, because it's usually like, hey, we're putting this item out, we're going to run this deal, make sure you order extra of these, and then they'll have extra, and then they put them on a slight discount. But sometimes you'll find at Lowe's, and I like, if I go to Lowe's, I'm always like looking up and down like the aisles, just you look for the yellow tag. Usually it's like the contractor deal. It's like, oh, buy 20 and get $1 off or whatever. But every once in a while you'll find a good deal. I found a Craftsman 20-volt weed eater and like electric, like I guess leaf blower combo that came with a battery and a charger. It's normally $189. I got it for $39.
Wow.
That is crazy.
They had
cheap.
one. They only had one.
Yeah.
Crazy
What
cheap.
in the world?
Yeah, and like and again with a brand that's their brand, right? I'm using air quotes for those of you that can't see me. They have a little bit more like I guess leeway they can discount things on. So at your local Lowe's, especially if you have competing Lowe's or multiple Lowe's, like back in Ohio, we only had one, so like it wasn't really a thing. But here we have like 3 within a very reasonable driving distance, and like they're all different. Like I've gotten battery deals like at the Madison Heights one. Yeah, that particular deal got the Bedford one. So if I'm going to Lowe's, I'm taking like, and my wife knows that like I'm going to take extra time and just like look through, because you just never know.
Yeah. For those of you that are not interested in anything tool, I apologize. But if you are interested in it, drop a comment down below. Let us know your ecosystem. Let us know why.
Yeah. Tell me how dumb I am for crafting tools. I'm ready for it.
I think that we had enough of a spread to where we're like, we make enough sense. But if you're not interested in it, this is the beauty of the banter. We'll talk about something different every week. Sometimes we talk about animals for a long time, but or dogs. We went through a spell where we talked about dogs a lot. But we'll talk about something different every week and hopefully touch a little bit of a bunch of different things. Also, put in the comments things you want us to talk about, because we are willing to talk about things that you want to hear. And so one of the beauties of being in like one ecosystem is you get to have that moment where you look down and you see everything the same color and everything the same brand.
I'm here for that. That's
what is like one of your other favorite things in life where everything matches? For me, I do love getting in the shower and seeing I've all Manscaped stuff. That I enjoy seeing like all the bottles match, all my beard products match, and I've got like so like that is satisfying to me. What's something else where you're like everything is the same ecosystem and it's satisfying to look at?
I'm gonna just say this. This is a character flaw of mine. And Kimberly just called me out on this like 2 days ago. Again, she says, quote, "You're just like a things guy. Like you have to have all the gear." And I'm like, I know. I'm
a gear person.
I'm a gearhead, and not like only like cars. Like I'm just like a guy that needs this.
Everything.
If I'm into something, I need the things
I am
for it.
The exact same way. And it's very dangerous now that I have places to put them.
Yeah. YouTube's dangerous for me because I can become a fan.
Yes.
I think this is a good thing. This is a good thing but a bad thing. I can become a fan of anything. And like Kimberly will say, like I'm really easy to like watch shows and stuff, because even if I like don't care about like a series or something she's watching, I can get like really into it. I'll get really into things, but I have to like be careful. You guys saw The Warehouse. Like we got 4 fish tanks really quick. I had to stop. So like I can get really into stuff really quickly. But I mean I like to know that my whole house is Mac. Like that's one thing.
That's one thing I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I don't know. I mean, it really just depends for me, because like again, drums, like I want like all the same like brand of cymbal, like computer, like our like technology ecosystem in our house. Like I'm not like I have Apple computers, Apple phones, and then have like Alexa.
Yeah.
I have Apple HomePod system in my house. So I have to, if I did, it would drive me nuts. So, and then like, I have, I make sure like our security cameras work with Apple HomeKit. Like I want everything to work in that ecosystem.
Yeah. So. I will say I have a really hard time sticking to one thing because like even with the Manscaped stuff, I see another brand. I'm like, I kind of want to try that though. And then, but then whenever I switch and try something else, I feel like I need everything in that brand. And so I'm definitely loyal to my brands. But again, I'm a person that loves to hunt for the thing that's better but maybe cheaper or stuff like that. I like to look at that stuff. So it means that I switch around a lot. I can't imagine if I had the same mind I have now but I had any money, I would be unstoppable.
Yeah.
I would have so many. Literally the only thing that stops me from buying everything I see on Facebook Marketplace is that I know I can't.
That's true. That's fair.
It's a good boundary to have. I'm glad that I'm not irresponsible with credit cards.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's a scary place out there. I do like one of my like proud things is in my basement we have like a Lego city, like a table. I think it's like a 21-foot table Lego city, and underneath of it I have a bunch of I built the table, and then it perfectly fits a bunch of pull-out storage bins, and they're all organized by color and type of brick. So like that's kind of like really like when I look at that I'm like yeah. And then I have a Lego room where I have like sets I haven't built and they're neatly stacked in there, and then I have other like bins of like smaller parts organized by type and color. Yeah, it's just very pleasing to look at. I know that's not like a brand, but I will refuse. No other brand of building block it comes into my house if it's not Lego. not even like those cheap kids ones, you know,
like the big ones.
Yeah, like I literally had people. They're like, "Oh, we'll buy him some Lego." I'm like, "Listen, I'm not trying to be this guy, but it has to be Lego, and I'm okay if you don't want to spend the money on Lego. Just give them like a gift card or something. But if it will not come in this house. You'll give it to them, and I'll donate it. Like it's not coming in the house.
That is so funny.
Like even like the big like the kids big plastic ones that every kid has. I was like, nope.
What's the most expensive Lego set that you've built or you have?
That I have?
I mean, it could just be in a box. And you're just collecting it.
See, I collect. I love Legos as much.
Do you want expensive, like most expensive one he's bought, like how the most money he's bought one for, or the one that's
like
worth
you
the most?
Possess.
Okay,
like you possess this Lego set.
I don't think I have any like particularly like super like valuable sets. It's more of my collection's valuable, if that makes sense. So every year Lego,
the culmination of your
every year Lego puts out a modular building. So like it's like usually like a 3-story building. You can take all those stories apart. It's about this tall. Okay. It's about usually like 12 to 16 inches tall, something like that. So every year they put those out. Now they're anywhere between $150 to like $250 to buy them new when they come out. And then they're like, it's funny. Well, but there was an article that compared like the Lego.
That's like a drill and impact driver.
I know, right? Yeah. There's a Lego article comparing like Lego to gold investing, and like usually Lego had a better return on investment. So
that's funny.
That's
so
awesome.
Like for instance, this one it's called the Brick Bank. It was one of the modulars from one year, and I bought it for I think it was $169 when it came out, and then now I think it's worth somewhere in like the 300 mark. It's only been 4 or 5 years.
That's crazy.
And then I have this one called what is it called? It's like a town square. So instead of like, and usually all these modulars are on like one like 10 by 10 plate or 10 by 10 plate. I'm a little out of practice talking about Lego. So they're usually on that. This one is on 2.5 of those. So it's like, it's pretty massive. It was like 250 to start out with. I think it's going like for 600 or so now. But I have, so they're all worth roughly double-ish once after they go.
I mean, that's a good investment right there.
Because they only make them for like a year and a half, and then like it'll discontinue them, and they don't make them anymore. So I have I think I have 14 or 15 of those in my city. And then just the plates, like the road plates alone are that I put in there that makes it look like a road in front of like the main town. Yeah. Those are like $6 or $7 a piece just for the plate. And then I put like all of I make the sidewalks, and so like that whole city is probably somewhere in the network a net worth of like, I don't even want to say the number, like 12,000 or so.
Wow.
That's not what I paid for. It's just what
Yeah.
Because I also found
awesome.
I found some good deals on some older ones that are worth a lot more. And so I mean, I have enough to have a full room and a Lego city. So again, a lot of it was like gifts, like, you know, the boys were really into it. So people were getting them for Christmas and again, my parents every year get me the modular for Christmas. Like
are you a yard sale guy?
Oh, dude.
Like,
I love yard
Lego.
sales.
I feel like that's the dream spot.
My biggest failure since I've moved here, and one of the biggest things I was excited about moving to a bigger place is I'm like, all right, there's got to be some like bratty kids out there that have every Lego set ever, and they're like, I'm tired of picking these things up, and then we're put them in a yard sale. And like, I've hunted on yard sales here. I've not found a single Lego deal in the 3 years I've lived here, and I've almost given up. The best deal I found on Lego was on Facebook Marketplace, and it was in I forget what town it was. It's like an hour away. I drove to it, and it was like this kid's entire Lego collection. There was like a train, and we have a train track that goes around our city that has like they're battery powered, so they like move and everything.
Oh.
And I think he was selling the whole collection for like $300, and the train itself was worth like $5 because it was a very old one, like one of the first ones. And I think I priced it out. I think that whole collection was worth somewhere in the ballpark of like $1,200-$1,300.
Wow.
So that was my biggest find, but like yard sale has been my biggest failure. Like I've been so excited. I'll look and like the boys in Kimberly are excited, like, oh, yard sales, look, we got to stop them. Like, there's not going to be anything. There's not going to be anything.
Brad, I'm really hopeful right now that we can make a really bizarre connection on the Banter. Have you ever purchased any custom Lego minifigs?
Oh, dude. Here's the thing.
Okay.
No, because
okay,
they're now not genuine Lego figures.
Okay.
But I've always wanted to. But it breaks my rule.
But I think aren't they? They're okay. So my brother-in-law's sister and her husband, they have a company where they do custom minifigs. They
print them. They probably print them on genuine.
They're on genuine Lego characters. But they're printed on them.
Yeah,
so.
that by definition makes them like not in that ecosystem anymore. They're not a technical Lego manufactured piece.
I understand.
I guess that'd be like dyeing a disc, but then thinking it's an original. Like, is that kind of similar to that?
I guess kind of,
I don't know.
Except it doesn't affect. Again, it's maybe trying to cross-sect two different worlds, but. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I think it's very cool that people do that.
Yeah,
and I would love.
They've sold to like a bunch of different Panthers players and stuff like that.
That's very cool.
That get like their minifigs and stuff like that.
Is it just like a Lego body?
Yeah.
With their face on, or like
their face, their jersey, their whatever.
Oh,
yeah, it's very cool. Like I love that, but it's one of those things. Like
I was just really excited for this moment where there was a possibility that like, yes, you did buy them, and then you'd been buying from my. I don't know what relation we are, but that would be really fun.
Yeah. Well, I want to get more information about them when we're done, because I'm still I'm a fan of them.
Yeah.
Regardless, but yeah, unfortunately. And so Silas, I have the minifigures are like the people.
Yeah.
I have a couple minifigures that are worth like $100 a piece, like the little.
Wow. Because they're like just so limited.
Yeah, they were limited. They were mystery finds, and I found 5 or 3 of them. So like. And that's the thing too. I also collect every year. They put out like a series of minifigures, like random like mystery bag ones. Okay. And every year they put out a different set of them. And I've collected all of them in every set for the last like 5 or 6 years. So I have them in little display cases, like in my Lego room too.
Cool.
That's cool. So my sister and my brother-in-law, they did a bunch of crazy stuff, because my brother-in-law is basically convinced that he wasn't going to have a desk job. He was very talented at a lot of different things, and he was especially talented at being stubborn. And so he like in a good way. Yeah. And so he was like, I don't want a regular 9-to-5 job. That's not what I want. Very much could have. He had don't confuse that with a bad work ethic. He had an incredible work ethic because he made it work. And so these were I've talked about it in the Banter before. It's my sister and my brother-in-law. They would travel the entire U.S. like doing road trips.
They would find deals, right?
They would go to Kmart, and they would go to Walmart, and they would find like hair dye that was on sale for like 29 cents. And so they'd buy hundreds of them. They'd just take every bit that they had off the clearance shelf. And they were specific hair dyes that they had scanned and found out were selling for $20 a piece on Amazon. So they would buy a 30-cent one, flip it for $20, and had hundreds of them. So that's how they made their income. And it also made it that for 2 years they could travel the entire U.S. They went. I was talking to my sister the other day, and they went to every state except for Hawaii and Alaska. And so it was very successful. They had a great time. It was probably the best way you could spend the first 2 years of marriage. It was awesome.
That's amazing.
And it was also cool because it was right after they settled down. That's whenever they had their kid. That's also whenever Cody, my brother-in-law, got cancer. And so then he eventually passed away a year after that. It also meant that they had like the best memories in their marriage.
It's amazing.
It was awesome. But in this time also, whenever they would be home, they kind of tapped into the Lego market because they just kind of figured out like how to see markets where people would spend money on things. And Lego is a world where if you love Lego, you spend money on Lego stuff. Yeah. And so they discovered Lego like conventions and Lego fairs and Lego shows. And they started a company called Curly Kate's where they made Lego bow ties and Lego Christmas ornaments. And like all that stuff. So cool. And so they literally would just make a ton of Lego bow ties with like magnets on the back, so you can magnet them to your shirt. And Cody was really
like from Lego.
They would get the pieces and they would make Lego bow ties.
Oh, that's sick.
And they like glue them together, obviously, so that they would stay together. And then you could have a Lego bow tie. And like so it was great because parents want to buy it for their kids and stuff like that. And so they did that for a long time. He made like a little workshop in their house where he had like a drill press and he'd be like drilling Lego pieces and putting them together. And they would go to a bunch of different Lego shows and they would set up their booth. And Cody was really good with marketing, photography, videography. So he could they had like a TV setup with like just B-roll of like kids with Lego bow ties and Christmas ornaments and stuff like that. And they actually also made them in kits too. So you could either buy one that was glued together or you could buy their kit of like pieces and stuff like that with like the manual of like how to put it together too. So it was just like one of those things where they were like, people spend money on these things, we should try it out. And it's just so funny. He did eventually, once they had a kid, he became a
desk guy.
Yes, he became a desk guy and he worked very hard at it. But
well, I admire that like a million times over, first of all.
Yeah.
I also got so deep into Lego at one point that there's a program where you can like digitally build your own things and it like creates a step-by-step like
that's
Lego.
So cool.
I had that program and I was like, I think that's the moment I was like, maybe I'm in too deep right now. Maybe it's like 2 a.m. I'm like building a Lego like thing and I'm like, all right, maybe I'm in too deep.
You should do like a Lego one of like our foundation office, and it's just like you see like the trash on the floor and like the
I just
dust.
like throw a bunch of random boxes everywhere. No, I love that. I just got a notification on my phone that it's like Sweet Frog No Way Day, just to let you know.
What is that?
Oh, where it's like a solid price.
Yeah, you go to Sweet Frog, they don't weigh. There's like it's just this much. So.
Oh,
how much is the price?
I thought you were talking about like no WAY.
No way. Yeah, they don't have whey protein
No
today at Sweet Frog.
So $5 small, $7 medium, $9 large.
I mean, Sweet Frog's right up the road.
I know. So I'm
Come
just
on.
saying.
I'm going there for lunch. I'm getting a large.
Yeah, breakfast Sweet Frog. No, it reminded me of this. This time I got so sick at Sweet Frog because I'm an idiot. So I got really into, I don't know, I just like I like random more, like even when I go to restaurants, like usually I won't like pick something on the menu and order it. I'll just like ask the waitress or waiter like what their favorite thing is, and as long as it's not like poisonous to me, I'll probably eat it or not gross. I just like to do that because I just get kind of bored. But I really enjoyed this like TikTok channel where it's called Roll for Sandwich. I don't know if you heard of it before.
What?
So this guy every day for lunch, he does a D&D like dice tower roll for the bread, the meat, like the
so funny.
Toppings, the sauce, and like the way like a wild like
so
a
you
wild
just get
magic.
a different combo every day.
Yeah, every day it's something different. He'll rate it on a scale of 1 to 10.
That's so funny.
It's amazing. Like he has some of the like most gross thing, and like now it's really popular. So like people send stuff from overseas, so have like random like stuff that's not even like U.S. based, which is cool.
Yeah.
So I got into that, and my friends came down from Ohio, and my one buddy, he is like, he just is up for that stuff. His name's Sean. He's just like up for stuff like that. And I'm like, hey, for lunch, and the boys, of course, were too. So like, I'm like, hey, I watch this channel. I made this sheet up for our lunch today of everything that's kind of like in the fridge. You know, you want to like roll for our lunch, and we did it, and it was like pretty okay. Like it wasn't gross or anything because I didn't buy anything gross.
Yeah,
but later that day, we went to Sweet Frog. It was that evening, and I came there and I had a dice in my pocket. I'm like, you guys want to roll for our ice cream? So we did. Sean and I rolled for our ice cream, and I got the most disgusting combination of stuff. Kimberly has video of this. Like I almost threw up right on the table.
Oh my gosh!
Like it was like cotton candy ice cream.
Oh, that's a tough way to start.
Yeah, I don't like cotton candy at all. So.
Oh no!
You got to respect the game, though. Like,
yeah, I respect your
Yeah.
respect.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was like cotton candy ice cream mixed with, I think it was like peanut butter ice cream.
Oh,
So that was gross to begin with.
that's disgusting.
Then like there's like you know how like the rows in Sweet Frog. So each row was a roll, like a dice roll.
Okay.
So there was like 6 total. I think
Okay.
6 or 8, I can't remember. But I got like the like little boba like beads, which I hate.
You hate those?
They're gross.
What?
They freak me out.
So I got that, and then I had like hard rock candy,
Yeah.
and then
The chocolate rocks?
yes,
I love those.
but they get so hard, like they break my
that's
teeth.
Like, yeah, they do, but
And
it's
then
fun.
I had like hot fudge, and then you know there's like
Wet walnuts? The
no.
wet walnuts are my favorite part.
Oh no, I couldn't have. I don't know if I could have done that. I would have done it, but I'd have been worse off. And then I had like the sour gummy ribbon, and then hot fudge,
Oh.
and then a couple other random things. But those ones like
All that mixed with cotton candy and peanut butter. Oh, gosh.
I eat the whole thing?
Did you?
Yes.
What?
Wow.
Did I gag the entire time? Yes. Kimberly's like, I thought you were actually going to throw up.
That is so funny.
So what I'm proposing is we all need to do that, by the way.
All right.
I don't think Hunter's game for that type of activity. That doesn't seem like something he'd be in for, but
No, I don't think
Silas,
so.
you'd do it. You'd do
Yeah.
it. You would do it.
I would do it. I just don't want to spend
Yeah.
money on it.
If I had the peer pressure, I wouldn't do it just me, but you know, when the peer pressure hits, I'd do it.
Oh, I'd do it in a group. I wouldn't just go by myself and do it.
Oh, no.
but
no.
like, heck yeah, with the boys.
For the boys.
For the boys.
Roll for the boys.
I do this thing at our corn maze. It's a corn maze tradition. It's called corn bomb, and it's where I pick up a cob of corn off the ground and I peel all of the husk back, and then I throw it as high in the air and I yell corn bomb.
And then you hit a child, and
I usually try to make sure there's no children around, but it's just part of the corn
Have
bomb
you ever
game.
gotten hit by your own corn bomb?
Never been hit by my own corn bomb. The reason it's fun is
okay.
because it's like a missile strike.
Yeah.
Because it goes up, and then because it's got all the husk in the back
Yeah.
of it, it just like pew, like a dart straight in the ground.
it probably
It's really
blows
fun.
up corn on the ground too, like the kernels probably pump off.
Yeah,
That's cool.
It's a good time. Yeah, corn bomb is an important part of my lifestyle.
Yeah. I think the moral of the story we're trying to say is go live your life.
Yeah.
Live your life.
Live it to the fullest. Don't hurt children though.
No.
And
I will say one of the joys of being a dad is for the first time your son's like old enough and you can roll a giant snowball, like one you can barely carry on your own. And they're like, Dad, don't throw that at me. And they're like laughing. So they're like, please throw it at me. And you
Yeah.
throw it at them. It explodes them like 20 feet the other direction. And you're like, oh no, did I hurt them? And they pop out of the snow canyon that they made. Like, Dad, that was fun. Do it again.
that fun time where you're like, did I just harm my child? And then they start laughing. You're like, thank goodness.
Yeah, like,
There's like a
they
fine
love that.
line between
Yeah.
pain and joy.
Just like a corn bomb.
Just like it is very similar to a corn bomb.
A snowball is the corn bomb of the snow.
Yes.
That's true.
All right. Well, I need to make a wheel.
Spin the wheel.
I've never made a wheel before.
You can make a wheel.
Yeah,
Man, I
just search wheel names.
I really wish I had a
Wheel
die
names.
right now. We could just roll.
Ooh, yeah.
That would be very fun.
On
That would be
live.
fun.
Just ask Siri whether like she likes Hunter, Trevor, Silas, Konner.
Here, I'll
Who
put,
she
I'll put
likes
the
more.
names. Let me take. I've got right now the names on there are Allie, Beatriz,
Ooh.
Beatriz with a Z,
Oh.
Charles, Dia, Eric, Fatima, Gabriel and Hannah.
All right.
These are your friends, or this is just random?
It's just the random names they put on there.
Well, that's somebody's friends.
Beatriz with a Z. If your name's Beatriz with a Z, leave it in the comments below.
If you know a Beatrice with a Z, leave it in the comments below. No, I think, what a solid banter, because we talked about tools, we talked about Lego,
And what else matters?
Talk about food.
talking about Sweet Frog,
Corn bomb.
corn bomb.
All right, am I missing anybody? Brad, Silas, Trevor, Hunter, Jason?
No,
Okay. All right, here we
I
go.
almost said Konner, but you're gonna be
Yeah.
here.
And I am our stationary
You're the
host.
host.
Yeah. All right, here we go. I'm spinning.
Spin the wheel.
Spin the wheel.
Oh, I can see it spinning.
Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be?
Oh.
Who is
Who's
it?
that? I can't read it.
Hunter.
Big Hunt.
We got Big Hunt on next
Glorious.
week. All right.
He can't
Remove.
Connor, can I call
Most
you
fancy.
as a nickname, as a pet name? Can I call you Corn Bomb?
Yes.
Okay.
Bob?
Corn bomb. That's so funny.
Like Noah gained the name Iceman,
All right, I'm spinning.
not because he's cold as ice, because he literally went and got ice for us multiple days.
And
Okay.
Jason.
Oh, heck yeah.
Jason.
Big Hunt, Corn Bomb, and Jason.
Jason.
Mr. Warehouse.
Mr. Warehouse. Jason Derulo.
Connor, you better get running this week, man.
Yeah, you're gonna talk
Dang.
about running the entire time.
All right, I'm gonna-
you're signing up.
I'll run 5 miles by the time I see them, by the time
Yes.
the next banter, so that I can be a part of the conversation.
Yeah, and that's
I
like
just have to figure
Let's
out
hear Connor's
how
mile
can I
time in the
make that
comments.
subject about me. I'm just kidding.
you're like, hey, one time I ran a mile and I went to Harbor Freight. And here's the cool thing about Harbor Freight.
I ran to Harbor Freight and all right. Thank you guys for joining us. All right,
Okay,
noise real quick.
bye.
Make the noise of a drill.
We did that already.
Did we?
Yeah. We did
Never
a power
mind.
tool.
Did we? Do
Yeah.
it again.
Hey, no, I'm making the noise today, man.
Do it. That's fine.
All right. I want to hear you stepping on a Lego at 1 a.m. in the dark.
Okay, I got it. I just gotta pee so bad. That's me trying not to wake everybody up.
I like
but
that.
in pain.
All right.
Look at how far down my microphone is right now.
How did you get there? My eyes were
All right,
closed, so
here
I
we go.
didn't see it.
Here we go, ready?
Yeah. All right, here's mine. Ready? Who didn't put this back in the right bin? This is a yellow square.
How did this non-Lego Lego block get in my house?
This is a mega block.